Okay, for this problem, we want to graph f of x equals the greatest integer of 2x. And the first thing I want to do is review what the greatest integer of x function looks like. So remember that that function has these little steps, like so. So every integer is mapped to itself, but anything that's not an integer ends up rounding down to the nearest integer. So that's what the greatest integer function looks like. So we should expect this function to look like something similar. And so let's go ahead and fill in the table to find some values that we can plot. So suppose x is 1.6, then 2 times that would be 3.2, and the greatest integer of 3.2 is 3. Suppose x is 1.9, 2 times that is 3.8, and the greatest integer of that is 3. Suppose x is 1.1, 2 times that would be 2.2, and the greatest integer of that is 2. So we're going to have a split off between 1.5 and above and 1.0 to 1.5. So if I had 1.5, that would double to be 3, and the greatest integer of that is 3. That's going to be the smallest number that has the greatest integer value of 3. So from x equals 1.5 to x equals 2, we should have a greatest integer value of 3. So we'll plot that. Kind of hard to squish that in there. Okay. Now how about numbers that fall between 1 and 1.5? We already have 1.1 there. What if we did 1.0? If we double that, we get 2, and its greatest integer value is 2. If we did 1.4, double that, we get 2.8, and the greatest integer value is 2. So anything between 1 and 1.5 is going to have a greatest integer value of 2. Okay, what about numbers that fall between 0.5 and 1, like 0.7? If you double that, you get 1.4, and the greatest integer value is 1. So we're going to have these little steps which have half the width of the steps that we're used to from the regular greatest integer function. Okay. So let's take a look at that zoomed out a little bit, since that other graph was making it kind of small and hard to see. So we have something like this, where every half a unit we end up going up a step. Okay, so how about the domain and range? So you can take any real value and you can multiply it by 2, and you can take its greatest integer value, so all real numbers there. And then for the range, you can see when you look at the graph that the only output values are integers, -3, -2, -1, etc. So we can list those. The way we normally list our integers is we just kind of give a sampling of integers here. Or we can say these are all of the integers.